All right, let's talk about something that gets a pretty bad rap in grammar class, but is actually one of the coolest tools you can have for communicating. We're talking about the passive voice. And seriously, forget everything you've heard about how you should never, ever use it. Today, we're going to learn how to make it your own personal superpower. So, to get our brains warmed up, here's a little riddle for you. What could a super-focused scientist in a lab and, say, a brilliant mystery novelist possibly have in common? I know, it sounds like the beginning of a weird joke, right? But the answer actually gets to the heart of a really powerful communication trick. And the answer is, they are both masters of controlling the spotlight. Think about it. In any good story, whether it's a scientific report or a thrilling whodunit, the whole game is about guiding your audience's attention. And that, right there, is exactly what the passive voice lets you do. Let's see this spotlight effect in action, okay? So, in the active voice, we say, the cat ain't the fish. Bam! The star of the show is the cat. It's all about the cat, what the cat did, but watch what happens when we go passive. The fish was eaten by the cat. Whoa! Suddenly, our attention just snapped over to the poor fish. The story is now about the fish and what happened to it. Same exact event, but a totally different main character. Okay, so how do we actually build this thing? Let's take a look at the basic blueprint, and you'll see it's actually way, way simpler than it sounds. It really just boils down to this one simple formula. You take a form of the verb to be, like is, are, was, were, and you add the past participle of the main verb. That's it. That's the secret recipe. Was stolen, is delivered, will be sent. See, it's the same pattern every single time. And here's a quick look at how that blueprint works across different tenses. Now, don't feel like you have to memorize this whole chart. Just notice the pattern. For the past simple, you have the car was stolen. For the future, the package will be delivered. Even when it gets a little more complex, like the report is being written, you can see that basic formula is still there. The to be verb just changes to fit the tense. It's actually a really clean and predictable system once you see it. So we know how to build it. Now for the really important part. When should you actually use it? I want you to think of the passive voice as your secret weapon. You're not going to use it all the time, but when you pull it out, it's for a very specific, strategic reason. We're going to break this down into 3 key missions for your new secret weapon. Mission 1, when the person who did the action is either a total mystery or just doesn't matter. Mission 2, when the action itself or the object that received the action is the real star of the show. And Mission 3, when you need to sound a bit more formal or official. Let's tackle Mission 1, the unknown doer. If you say, my wallet was stolen, you're using the passive voice perfectly. Why? Because you probably have no idea who stole it. The focus is on your wallet and the fact that it's gone. Or take a sentence like, the pyramids were built thousands of years ago. The whole point of that sentence is the pyramids and their age, not a long, boring list of every single person who worked on them. The doer is just not the point. Now for Mission 2, which brings us right back to our scientist. In science, the process has to be objective. It has to be repeatable. So it doesn't really matter who did the experiment. What matters is how it was done. When you write, the experiment was conducted under strict conditions, you put that spotlight right where it needs to be, on the process, not the person. And finally, Mission 3 is all about tone. Let's say you see a sign that says, visitors are requested to turn off their mobile phones. It sounds official, right? It's way more polite and less bossy than a sign that just says, turn off your phone. It creates this little bit of formal distance, which is perfect for rules, announcements, and official stuff. All right, you've got the basics down cold. You're ready to level up, right? Let's get into a couple of pro-level moves that will give you even more control over your sentences. So here's the trick. Some verbs, like give, send, or tell, can actually have 2 objects. For example, in the active sentence, the teacher gave the students a test. What did the teacher give? A test. Who did she give it to? The students. See? 2 objects. And this is where things get really interesting. Because you have 2 objects, you now get 2 different ways to use the passive voice. It's like having 2 different camera angles. If you want to focus on the people, you can say, the students were given a test. But if the test is the most important piece of information, you can shift the spotlight and say, a test was given to the students. How cool is that? 2 passive options, 2 different points of focus, all from one original sentence. Now, here's a version you have definitely used, probably without even thinking about it. In casual, everyday conversation, we often swap out to be for the word get. Saying we got invited to the party or he got hurt in the game just sounds more natural and relaxed. It often adds this little feeling that something happened to us. And there you have it. From the simple, basic formula to these more advanced moves with double objects and the word get, your passive voice toolkit is now officially complete. You can now see it for what it is, not some dusty old rule to avoid, but a powerful strategic tool for controlling focus and setting the perfect tone. So the big question is, what are you going to do with it? Now that you have this tool in your back pocket, think about your own writing, your own speaking. Where can you shift that spotlight to tell a more interesting story, to make a point more clearly, or to sound exactly the way you want to sound? Which of your sentences are you ready to transform?